The Rings of Power Season 2, Episode 5. Let's talk about it. Okay, so the newest episode of Rings of Power Season 2, Episode 5 is now out on Amazon Prime for you guys to go and check out. And last week's episode, Episode 4, not the greatest episode, let's just say that. Had storylines that I don't feel like they are developing and just seem like they're dragging on a bit and just no characters that you really give a crap about. So I thought it was the weakest episode so far. So going in episode 5, I was like, can't be any worse, right? It can't get worse than that. Episode 4 was a step up, but I wouldn't say it's the greatest episode. Now, this deals with 3 storylines mainly throughout the whole entire ones. The 3 that we haven't seen. So we've got the ring, with Sauron. We have the dwarves as well. And then we have the city on the water. Númenor. However you say it. I don't know. Don't care. That storyline to me is the weakest storyline out of these 3 that cool. I mean, I guess. Alright, there's a civil war that's about to break out. That's great. The new king's doing all this stuff that's destroying what their heritage was. The queen's like, don't worry, man. It's okay. You saw a vision. You don't need to worry about it. Your vision changed my vision. Everything's going to be okay. It's like, what, woman? Why don't you just start an uprising and have a civil war and just beat this guy? Like, what's going on here? And then you have the daughter of him, of the sea captain, the daughter being like, Dad, I'm with the new king now. I'm going to be with them. I'm disobeying everything you're saying or anything like that. Because, my brother's dead. Wow. Whoop-de-doo. Don't care for that storyline. I really don't. So, that's all going on. There's going to be a civil war. There's a fight that was okay. Outside of that, nothing else really about it. That kind of made me go, wow, I need to watch this storyline all the time. So, there's that. Now, let's get into the other 2 storylines. The ones that actually are interesting. So, you have the stuff with Sauron and how he's still manipulating everyone to building these rings. So they've just done the dwarves rings. Now he wants to build the man rings. The ones for the men. 9 of them. And this is where the main guy, the main elf, who is the actual architect and forger behind it all, goes, nah, I don't want to. Don't want to make men. I don't believe in men. I don't trust them. They're evil. Which, he ain't wrong. We are kind of like, willing to destroy each other. For some unknown reason. Just are. So he's like, I don't want to do that. But Sauron's like, I need to manipulate my way throughout here to be able to do it. So he goes, I'll do it then. You don't have to help. And this is where then, the stuff with the dwarves happen. And they come and they're like, yo, the rings are playing they're not doing what they're supposed to do. They're corrupting people. And he's like, well, we did it the same way as we did the elves one. And then he goes to Sauron and he's like, yo, did you meddle with these? And Sauron, of course, Sauron's going to go, yes, I've been manipulating you the whole entire time. I've been, adding and, changing these rings to fit my billing, to be able to do what I want to do, to become flooding corruption and darkness in front of everyone. Yes, 100%, that's what I did. Sauron's never going to say that. So what does Sauron say? No. Well, never saw that coming. I'll tell you that now. So Sauron then, starts manipulating his way into the minds of them and be like, yo, it's deceived. You didn't tell your king that you were doing this. So that's why the rings are like they are. You need to go tell them that you're doing this. Otherwise, it's not. Otherwise, we can continue on and go forward. And this guy just doesn't seem to sit there and go, wouldn't it make it worse if I just went forward and didn't tell anyone? But hey, what do I know? I'm not an elf. So you have that stuff going on. I just feel like the dialogue in that stuff is just not wowing me. It's not making me go, whoa, that was an enthralling conversation that I wish I could watch again. It's not like that. It's not where I'm sitting there, I'm like, damn, that conversation, like a Shogun or something like that, where you're just like, it's all conversation that where you can have them in a room talking. And it's just, you're sitting there and you're so captivated by the conversation. This show doesn't have that. So I don't know what it's relying on at this point now. It's really struggling in that department. I just feel like the writing is not at the level of a Lord of the Rings. You know, you watch the original Lord of the Rings and you're sitting there and you're like, the conversations are just unbelievable. You know, you get those moments, those speeches, the whole thing, you know, the ending of like, you bow to no one. Like that sort of stuff where you're like, oh my word. The whole action and everything else in this movie does not trump that scene because of the dialogue, because of the acting, because of everything in that moment of that conversation is just so freaking incredible. The show just does not have that. And now when we get to the dwarf stuff, which is interesting, so you have them have the rings now, and this is where the king is now becoming manipulated and corrupted by the rings as well. He's like, I'm going to dig at the foundation wall here to get the sunlight. And Durin's like, can't do that. It's the foundation wall. You can't do that. Are you telling me how to do my own job? Bam. And then sunlight comes through. And then Durin's like, oh, okay. Maybe he's onto something. So they get sunlight back in there. So as this is going on, we start to see the king become corrupted. His greed starts to take over. He starts adding more tax to things now. You got to give half this. He won't give up the other rings, the other, 6 rings, unless he gets something in return. And this is where Durin's like, this is not my father. My father ain't ever been about greed. And he tells the elves that. He's like, he's not about greed. He's never been about this. This is a problem. What did you do to my rings? And it's like, we didn't do anything. And then there's Durin's like, maybe, it's that guy up there that you don't know, that you just like basically met realistically, that you think is like elvish Jesus. Maybe he's the one doing it. And that's when we get that conversation with Sauron and that, where Sauron's like, I'm going to unlay my plans. No, I'm just going to say no to your question. Like, can't prove that I can do it. So then Durin goes back. And then this is the moment, I think this was the strongest part of the episode, was when Durin was talking to his dad about not wearing the ring. And his dad's like, I'm proud of you. You saved us and that. And then you know that Durin's like, okay. This man's been hating me, and now he's saying he's proud of me and stuff like that. And that's all a son wants, is to hear that from his father. And it's like, how does he go about that? Like, how does he go about it? And then when we have the darkness thing that's down in the mountain as well, where Durin's wife hears, and she's like trying to tell him about that. So you have that. Then you have Galadriel turns up at the orc place, and then it's like, Arda's like, guess what? You're not a prisoner. I'm here because we have a common enemy. Pan to Sauron. And it ends there. So, look, it was a decent episode. Again, it's still lacking in the dialogue. Still lacking that wow factor. Visually, it's okay. It's got its pros, its cons. And that's what this show's been about. It's got some great stuff in it. Some good stuff in it. It's got some bad stuff in it. It's got some really bad stuff in it. So, at the moment, it's kind of like a 50-50 shot. I'm hoping the next episode is going to be the higher shot, where it's like, great. Maybe. Or maybe it's going to be really bad. I don't know. But let me know what you guys thought of the new episode. Did you guys enjoy it? Smash down in the comment section below. Smash that like button. Click subscribe. And I'll see you guys next video. Until then, stay safe. And peace out.